Meet Wilson, a womanizer who promises many women marriage but ends up running away after getting intimate with them. Wilson, the womanizer, pulled the same stunt with Sarah, a lovely girl. On the day they were supposed to tie the knot, Wilson took a heap of cash from Sarah, promising her eternal love. But when the big day arrived, Wilson didn't show up, leaving Sarah heartbroken and betrayed. As Sarah wept, the guests at the wedding laughed and made fun of her and her family. Sarah felt so hurt and angry that she couldn't hold it in anymore. Anger boiled inside her, and in her fury, she laid a curse upon Wilson, saying that if he ever had daughters in future, none of them would find marital bliss. Men would use them, discard them, and leave them at the altar, just as Wilson had done to her. They would suffer just like she did. They wouldn't find love, and men would treat them badly, just like Wilson treated her. As soon as Sarah uttered this curse, a tempest brewed in the skies, reflecting the storm raging within her heart. Suddenly, the sky turned dark, and a big storm began to brew. It was as if even nature was angry at what Wilson had done to Sarah. Many years later, Wilson found himself the father of 3 beautiful daughters. His eldest daughter, Lisa, is a bright and spirited young woman. Wendy, the middle child, possessed a kind heart and a gentle spirit. Kara, the youngest, is full of energy and mischief, always keeping the household lively. The mother of the girls suddenly left Wilson one day, and since then, he has been both mother and father to his girls. Despite his past mistakes, Wilson loved his daughters dearly and did his best to be a good father to them. He watched with pride as they grew into strong, independent women, each with their own dreams and aspirations. But deep down, Wilson couldn't shake the feeling of guilt for the pain he had caused Sarah and many other women in the past. Wilson prayed fervently that no one would ever treat his daughters the way he had treated many women in the past. He knew firsthand the pain and heartache that came from broken promises and shattered dreams. Every night, he prayed for their happiness and safety, hoping that they would find partners who would cherish and respect them. As Wilson watched his daughters grow, he made a conscious effort to instill in them values of honesty, integrity, and empathy. He wanted them to know their worth and to never settle for anything less than genuine love and respect in their relationships. And as they ventured out into the world, Wilson hoped and prayed that they would be spared from the same mistakes he had made and that they would find the happiness and fulfillment he had once foolishly denied others. Despite being 30, Lisa, Wilson's oldest daughter, hasn't found the right person yet. She's been in many relationships, but none lasted long. What's different about Lisa is she's saving herself for marriage. Whenever things get too close with her boyfriends, she says no, sticking to her decision to wait for marriage. Some guys respect her choice, but others get upset and leave. But Lisa stays firm in her belief that saving herself for marriage is important. She wants a love based on trust and respect, and she thinks waiting for marriage is part of that. Even though it's tough sometimes, Lisa keeps hoping she'll find someone who shares her values. She believes true happiness is worth waiting for, so she keeps looking for love. As Lisa observed her friends from university and even younger classmates getting married, she felt worried. At 30, she knew time was passing, and she felt pressure to find someone. She always wanted to wait until marriage for intimacy, but now she wondered if that was why her relationships never lasted. Seeing others settle down made Lisa doubt her choices. She thought maybe waiting for marriage was stopping her from connecting more deeply with someone. She worried about being left behind while others moved on with their lives. Wendy, 27 years, like Lisa, experienced similar heartaches. However, unlike Lisa, Wendy chose to compromise her values in hopes of keeping her boyfriends. She believed that offering intimacy would make them stay, but sadly, it only led to disappointment. Each time Wendy engaged in physical intimacy with her boyfriends, hoping it would deepen their connection, they ended up feeling irritated with her afterwards. She felt used and discarded, realizing that her attempts to keep them had only pushed them away further. Kiara, at the age of 23, found herself in love with Desmond, her first boyfriend. They shared a strong bond, but there was a problem. Desmond constantly pressured Kiara for intimacy. Despite her feelings for him, Kiara wasn't ready for that step and consistently refused his advances. As time went on, Desmond's requests for intimacy became more frequent and intense. He started to threaten Kiara, saying he would leave her if she didn't give in to his demands. Kiara felt torn between her love for Desmond and her own boundaries. She struggled with the fear of losing him, but she also knew she shouldn't compromise her values. Kiara wondered if Desmond truly loved her for who she is or just for what he wanted from her. It was a difficult decision for her to make, and she didn't know what the future held for their relationship. A few days later, Desmond made a surprising move by taking Kiara to meet his parents as the young woman he wants to marry. Despite their early attentions, Kiara felt touched by Desmond's gesture and nervous about meeting his family. To her relief, Desmond's parents welcomed her warmly into their home and expressed their happiness at meeting her. They assured Kiara that they saw her as part of their family and promised to visit soon to make the necessary arrangements to welcome her officially. Kiara is overwhelmed with gratitude for the acceptance and support she received from Desmond's family. It gave her hope that their relationship is meant to be. As Desmond took Kiara around his mansion, showing her every corner and envisioning it as their future home, Kiara felt a rush of joy. His gestures made her believe in the possibility of a happy future together. However, when Desmond attempted to get intimate with her upstairs in his room, Kiara remained firm in her decision to wait until marriage. Desmond's frustration grew as Kiara continued to refuse his advances, reminding him of the importance of patience and commitment. He couldn't understand why she was resisting, especially after he had introduced her to his parents as the woman he wants to marry. Feeling conflicted and overwhelmed by Desmond's persistence, Kiara struggled to maintain her boundaries. She reasoned that since Desmond had shown her to his parents, he must truly love her and intend to marry her. Despite her initial reluctance, she eventually gave in to Desmond's demands, hoping that it would solidify their bond and lead to the future they had dreamed of together. However, deep down, Kiara couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She knew that compromising her values wasn't the right choice, but in the moment, her desire for love and acceptance clouded her judgment. As she reluctantly gave in to Desmond's desires, she couldn't help but wonder if she was making a mistake that would haunt her in the days to come. Desmond felt really happy when Kiara agreed to be intimate with him. He kissed her ears and said he wanted this moment to be unforgettable. Kiara smiled and told Desmond she loved him. Desmond kissed her passionately, making Kiara feel things she never felt before. She moved with him, feeling excited for what is to come. Desmond took things further, and although Kiara felt some pain at first, she found it strangely sweet. Desmond checked if she is okay, and Kiara said she is just feeling a bit of pain because it's her first time. Desmond apologized and said it would get easier with time. Kiara smiled and said she is enjoying it, encouraging Desmond to keep going. Desmond went deeper, kissing Kiara passionately, causing her to moan with pleasure. They both enjoyed the intimate moments together, after which Kiara went home.